I work 24/7. I don't get a break. My only break is when I take the dog out in the morning, basically. The rest of the time I'm on standby day and night. My husband in his past has held down 4 jobs at once, but he couldn't help his injury and now his disability that resulted from that accident. The ex-missus kicked the kids out when they were 12, and that's why we got this 3-bedroom house. And initially we didn't want to take it, but we were overcrowded. We had no choice in the matter because we had 2 lads and a girl, and because of that we had to move from the previous address to the one where we are now. The kids have now flown the nest, and we got blessed with grandchildren. Now, on top of my husband's disability, the eldest lad, who really works hard, has had a nasty kick in the teeth from fate by having a very nasty bowel infection, not infection. Anyway, it resulted in that he had the more or less whole of his large intestine removed fairly recently. And they've also got a little baby that's turning 1 very soon. So that baby during that time obviously was a lot younger. To which we needed that spare bedroom for me to actually give a bit of support as well, which I still do. But I mean, they got their own place now, so you know they're not sleeping there. But I will be expected to have the child at some stage overnight. Also, the other difficulty is that my house has got adapted. We've got because I can't lift him, so we got an electric hoist. We got a through floor lift in case he is able to come downstairs and he feels to be downstairs. So I can actually get him down, because beforehand it was the case of lifting him out of bed into a wheelchair, pushing that wheelchair and struggling to get it sort of to the stair lift. I have to single-handedly lift him from the wheelchair onto the stair lift. Then he has to come downstairs. Then from there he's got to go to lift him physically to another wheelchair, and then lift him or wheel him into the living room, or sometimes for a very short walk outside. And by the time he's done the stair lift and the transfer from one wheelchair over to stair lift and then stair lift to the next wheelchair, he was knackered. He couldn't do it. The difficulties that I'm having presently is that we are not on the same level, and a bungalow would be absolutely brilliant because he's also noise sensitive as well. So it's really hard, and I'm constantly up and down the stairs, seeing to him as well and that. And it is hard work. And okay, it may not be a job where you get employed with a boss and all of this lot, but it is a job where I am in 24/7. It's like a nurse being there 24/7. No break. No matter, it doesn't matter what I feel like. It doesn't matter if I come down with a cold. It doesn't matter. I broke my wrist 4 years ago, 5 years ago now. And I found out 3 years later that I could have run the surgery and had support. I mentioned at the hospital when I got my plaster that when I broke my arm initially, falling on ice, that I could have had, if I would have run the surgery, I could have had emergency help in place. And I found that out 3 years later, and the hospital should have told me that. I didn't know. I had absolutely no idea. And I find in my personal life, information is lacking in coming forward very, very much in a lot of circumstances and in a lot of issues. And I think that is one of the points that could be easily changed, for starters. We've had, like I said, this roof floor lift, we've had the electric hoist, we've had the doors widened, we already had, well, we had to wait for the stair lift actually when we moved into that house. That was a struggle as well. And we've had the patio in the back paved properly because we've had a gap in between the stones which was that wide, and if I had to be careful to wheel him into the back, and the wheel would have caught in between and sunk down and all this lot. So, and social services who did come around at the time said, like, this is unacceptable, and I've had it all paved. So I've had all that money spent on that house for me to move out. Presently I'm struggling, but we are coping. That's what I shall put it, coping. But once the cap comes in, I don't know how I'm going to stand, to be quite honest. And my husband is lying in bed, in pain, very sick, which does not help him one little bit. It's making him worse than what he already is. And I'm having to cope with that stress, as well as his stress in getting ill worse. And it's a huge burden, and I feel the way we get treated as carers, we are saving the government thousands. If my husband went into care, into a home, it would cost the government a trifle more than me having to pay £27 on that house. And I mean, we have to contribute towards the rent. That's why I'm paying 20. It's actually £20.87 actually in bedroom tax I pay. But I mean, the carers allowance, I get a higher rate, 59 quid I get a week. That's nothing. That's not a wage. I don't mind looking after my husband. I don't mind getting £59. But I do mind getting a kick in the teeth as a thank you for saving the government a lot of money.